T. It's in the name.
Welcome into the Helping Healing Humor with Ben and Travis podcast. On today's episode, we're going to talk a little walk for water with Will Myhan, the man, the myth, the legend himself. And we'll get to that conversation right after these important messages. Hey, parents and young adventurers, are you ready to embark on an extraordinary journey? Introducing the adventures of Ben and Travis and the Worry Coaster, a thrilling ride through the ups and downs of mental health in our new children's book. Join our dynamic duo as they navigate the twists and turns of their emotions while discovering the courage to conquer their worries. Pre-order your ticket to adventure now at benandtravis.com/books and be among the first to embark on this roller coaster of resilience. Let's turn worry into wonder and empower kids to embrace their feelings with bravery and hope. Buckle up. It's going to be an unforgettable ride. I'm Travis Creasy, pulpit minister, campus minister for Riverside Christian Academy, Riverside Church of Christ in Fayetteville, Tennessee. Crazy enough, over 25 years of ministry work. Like, whoa. And then that is all pro counselor with 3-Chord Counseling, who's got at least as much as I've got, if not more, in the ministry world, and also the pulpit minister at Highland Park Church of Christ in Muscle Shoals, Alabama. Ben, how are you, bro?
I'm doing well. Right in the middle of March Madness, and there's probably going to be some more madness to come as you know, before this ever comes out. So you guys listening will know what all the madness was on Sunday, but it's been a good day. Other than that, Sundays are almost always good days. So glad to be able to be with my people. So Will Myhan, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I am sitting in a 90% finished nursery. So Lindsay has been going to town. So I am slowly losing space in our house of where to record these because I assume in the next couple of months there will be hopefully not a crying child, but a sleeping child in here. So things are good as we count down. I think we're about 8-ish weeks, so 2 months until baby boy gets here. So things are good over here.
Amateur, man. I have to come to the church to record because there's no space that's even quiet in my house unless I, go sit in my car. So anyway, congratulations though. So
yeah, 2 months. You got plenty of time to finish that thing, as I have no experience of doing anything nursery wise, but you got plenty of time. Will is the youth minister at Highland Park there in Muscle Shoals, but he also does a little work for Walk for Water, which is what we're going to be talking about most of today's episode. We've had them on before to talk. I don't know that we've had Will talk very much about it in the past, but we're going to do that as is it Water Week, World Water Week, or World Water Day? Ben, you were doing some research.
Something like that. I was looking at that and thought, man, yesterday, it was actually the 2nd, I think it is.
Yeah.
Was World Water Day. And so, a lot of folks, we take it for granted. I mean, if I need water, it's literally about 5 feet that way to my to the bathroom that's right outside my office, and then there's another sink back out another door, and it's pretty simple to get water for us. But I think there's raising awareness of the fact that it's not that easy for most of the world. Will can probably tell us a whole lot more about that.
Yeah, so on average, the average person uses 55 gallons of indoor water per day. And so you kind of look at that and think about what we cook with, brushing teeth, showering, washing hands, drinking water. Just this morning, Lindsay gets so frustrated with me because I have very sensitive teeth. And so when I start to brush my teeth, I turn the hot water on, and I'm the weird person that brushes my teeth with hot water. And I will let it continue to run as I brush my teeth so that it will stay warm. And she's in the bedroom trying to sleep and just yelling, please cut the water off. But I mean, things like that we just don't even think about. We were raised with that. We've always had it. It's something that we have come accustomed to. And so one thing that I do at Healing Hands in the Walk for Water division is I go at least probably 6 to 8, somewhere around there, times a year to different locations and just raise awareness, exactly what y'all were talking about, and let people understand not everybody in the world is blessed the way that we are and have the just the access to it. And I know that both of you have been outside our country to places where you're drinking bottled water, or you are brushing your teeth with bottled water, you're holding your breath as you take a shower, just trying not to get any of the bacteria that's in the water in other countries into our bodies. And so that's kind of what we do, is we raise money all over the country to build wells all over the world. And so this past year, just got some stats actually in the mail this weekend. Last year, Walk for Water raised $1.2 million. And so that's a credit to the Lord's church and to a lot of people. I actually worked with a plumbing company in New Jersey, and I went up there, heard about what Healing Hands does. They are very, I guess that they do water treatment. They also do a lot of plumbing, but they are big proponents of even people in the U.S. filtering their water as well, like with shower sinks, all of that. And they just saw us online and said, hey, there's a nonprofit that wants to help people with water, so we want to jump in and be a part of it. And so it's not just members of the Lord's church, but it's also people just companies looking to do something, I think, that's bigger than themselves. And that's one reason that I got involved. Thankful to our elders that have let me do that, just to be a part of the bigger family of God, reaching out and helping a lot of people. And so there's a lot of things that they do this April. So coming up next month, Walk for Water will have drilled its 2,000th well, which is just unbelievable. So that served over 2 million people throughout the world, which to me is just unreal. And I know y'all have seen people in different communities walking to get water. And so the average is about 4 miles a day that the women and children have to walk. And so I know us being girl dads have, I guess, I think about just closer to the heart, that if we lived in a country where that wasn't readily available, our daughters may not get education because they're going to be the ones every morning getting up to go walk for the water. And so we walk 4 miles every time we host one of these events, just kind of in honor is what I tell a lot of people, is we want to honor and try and in some ways walk in the shoes of the people that are going about and doing this every single day. Lindsay and I, when we were with Destin and Kenya in Africa, in Zimbabwe, I taught a high school class that had 23 girls in it. And I just got to thinking, based on the work from Healing Hands, even with what Dorian does with Partners for Africa in digging wells, had none of that been there, those 23 girls wouldn't have been in class. And so that was close to the heart, just coming back and seeing Emi have the ability to continue to be a part of an education because of the blessings that we have. And so I talked to somebody recently at an event, and they said, well, why is there not access to water or rivers or streams that they can go to? And I think a lot of us have just, even living in the shoals, living in the South, living in our own country, there's ponds, there's lakes, there's rivers, there's just so much access to where in other parts of the world, none of that is there. But the other thing about that is, when I was in Haiti, there was a river. And I watched some women and some girls walk down into the river to get water. But in doing so, they walked through about 30 cows to get the water. And so you look at it and go, yes, there are sources of water, but humanity is not the only thing using that source of water. And we can only imagine, what bacteria and what trash is in those streams or rivers or whatever it may be. And so
sometimes it's not even a river. It's like a little stream in the middle of a roadway, and everything in the world's walking through it. And, that's their water. Even the water that they drink is not really good water.
No, not at all.
Bodies may get used to some of the bacterias and things, but, it's not clean for sure.
No, not by any stretch. And that's what we're trying to do, is provide clean access, or provide access to clean drinking water, something that's going to continue to sustain. But then the other side of that is the spiritual side. And for you two and myself and many others that have gone into the mission fields, when these wells are drilled, it's usually put in a place where a school is, a church is, and it becomes a center hub for that community. And so that's another, I guess, product of drilling these wells is there's a lot of people that are then meeting at the well, literally, kind of like John 4. They're meeting at the well at the beginning of the day, the middle of the day, and many of our preachers and missionaries are also meeting at the well. And there's a lot of Jesus conversations that are happening because of efforts that a lot of people are never even going to see. I was talking to a group of teenagers at Mars Hill that raised several thousands of dollars to go towards a well the other day. And I said, you're never even going to know the eternal impact because we don't even know what spiritual conversations are going to happen at this well that may change the course of an entire village, community, country, for that matter. And so there's so much to this than just giving some money to help somebody get water. And so I hope people, when we come into town or when we have these events, they truly see the spiritual impact of what's going on.
I have been, as you mentioned, in other countries, and you knew there was water around if there was water because you could smell it. You could smell it miles and miles away. And that's no shade. They've just been using it a lot longer than we have. Their countries have been around thousands of years before America was even a thing. So just by usage, and it's not just animals, it's human beings. We use water for everything under the sun. And, to be able to provide something that's cleaner. And like you said, the access point, we all know water cooler talk. A lot of we talked about March Madness. There's a lot of that going on. I didn't get out of church tonight or this morning without talking a little March Madness. Not necessarily over the water cooler, but that's where conversations have, and that's all we really want is an access to have conversation. There are tons of podcasts that's what it is. That's the conversation. We know people who have their own podcasts, and we want to bring people. Whether it's through the mental health aspect or the drinking water aspect or whatever it is, it can always be used for the spiritual, but you got to meet that physical need. If I'm worried about where my next water is going to come from, it's going to be really difficult for me to be able to think about anything past that since it is such a need to have water.
It was. We got a video, I think it was the end of last year, of one of the missionaries in Africa. He sent a video to Gillian, who's kind of the director of a team of about 12 of us that go out into the country and put these events on. And what ended up happening is they, in other countries, I think they celebrate things, maybe, especially in the African culture. Everything is a huge celebration. Every time something happens or they open something, and you get a lot of the village chiefs, whoever it may be, community leaders, that end up showing up. And so all the preachers showed up, as well because of this well that was being opened. And at the end of that, they let one of the preachers have a few moments, I think, to talk, and they had 12 baptisms that day. Wow. And it was just like, hey, if this is such a special thing, and what I love about it is it's not really Healing Hands that's getting the credit, it's the church. And that's what I love about Healing Hands is the disaster relief, the Magi Project, Walk for Water. A lot of the programs are so based out of the local church. And that's what I love is they're not drawing attention to anything that they've done or that they're putting on, but it's, hey, this is the Lord's work, the Lord's people. And so people will start questioning, well, who are these people that we've never met and why are they doing something here? Yeah. And when those preachers are able to explain that, man, the impact is far greater than going, oh, there's this little place in Nashville, Tennessee that, is doing this for us. And so usually these wells, I want to kind of mention, it's $7,500 to sponsor a well. And in the big scheme of things, $7,500 is not a lot, in the big scheme of getting 200 or 300 people together. But But if you raise somewhere around 10,000, what Healing Hands does is they go in and they put a garden in right beside the well. And so now you're able to have kind of a community garden. They teach agriculture, and they're doing all of these things to continue to sustain the community. And so I love the idea. We talk about short-term missions, long-term missions. Healing Hands and the Walk for Water program is very much a long-term mission. We want to provide sustainability to that community the best that we can, so that the church can continue to have opportunities to grow. And so each year we do a theme that we kind of put out. I was going to show you on the video, you can see it, but the theme is just simply poured out. And what that comes from is a group of women that when they put a well in one of the African countries, I can't remember exactly which one without my notes, they put it in. Well, there were 3 or 4 women that decided to walk the 3-4 miles, whatever it was, to get the water from the river or the water source that they had been going to every single day. And so when they went down there to get the water, they brought it back up, got all of the Healing Hands representatives around them, and they dumped all the water out at their feet and poured everything that they said out and said, because of you, our life has now been changed. And so we can pour out this old way of doing things because we have something new and fresh. And so they said it was just kind of symbolic of even our life with Christ. We're going to die to that old. We're going to pour that out. We're going to be done with that because there's a new way of living. And so these women said, you have provided us a new way and a greater way. And so this year, what I've tried to get some of the groups that I've already worked with to understand is, this really is a life-changing moment. But also every time that we pour out water, or we dump water out, or we're continuing to let the faucet run, and I don't know that I would say we're wasting water, but in that same breath, hey, realize how great and blessed that your life is, and use those blessings to help other people. So it's really just a mission that's changing not just physical lives but spiritual lives. And anything that can help physically and spiritually is just something that I want to be a part of. And so it's been a blessing to my life. And being in Africa and being around some of the wells, that even Dorian has drilled with Partners for Africa, it's still something to just see and be amazed at, to realize that there are people that are still having to walk 3, 4, 5 miles a day just to get water. And we have it every single day.
If I remember correctly, with talking with folks before, and I don't remember if this was through Dorian or through Walk for Water or, at one of the presentations, but, these sites are evaluated,
Yes.
For sustainability. That's not, we're going to dig a well, this week, and in a year, this is going to run out. But it's kind of, is this a place where there's a water source underneath the ground that's going to continue? And so it's not like, hey, we're going to, drain this one dry. I'm sure that has happened at some point, but we have the technology now to know, hey, when we drill this water, this is probably going to be around for years and years and years. So like you said, it's a life-changing, it's a generational blessing that's going to go far beyond. And even when you're talking about those pouring out the water, I couldn't help but think earlier when you were describing the 4 miles that they have to walk, that's just for a 5-gallon bucket, 4-gallon. I mean,
if you can carry 5 gallons of water,
5 gallons is a lot of water to carry. And so y'all do that on your walks sometimes is, hey, carry this pitcher in there. And these women are not, handing it off to the next person after a mile. They're having to do that and that's why you said the kids, because you kind of wonder, well, if you got to walk a couple miles for water, you can get that done. Well, that may take some time when you're talking about how much water we need. How much did you say we need every day, or that we use every day?
We use in the United States an average of 55 gallons of water a day.
So you think about, I know they don't use that much, but think about trying to keep enough water around home for that much water a day. It's incredible what they have to do, and what a great blessing to so many communities.
Well, Will, tell us how can our listeners help? Where can they go to donate? You got a link for your personal, or you got?
Well, yeah, the easiest thing is you can go to Healing Hands International. It's hhi.org /water. That's a real easy way to do it. You can also contact, one of us, and Ben and Travis, you can contact them. You can contact myself through the podcast, and we can get you set up. There's a couple of things that you can do. The first thing is you can host a Walk for Water event. And a lot of people always freak out about this, but I have been a part of church groups, community groups that will host a walk where we have raised $2,000, which is unbelievable. We have also been a part of walks where there has been over $100,000 raised. And we look at it and go, there's a necessity for both. Because that $7,500 that will end up digging the well, but these walks where people are raising $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, what that's doing is that is going to help repair the wells. When I was in Africa last year, there was a well that a part had broken off, and so they were trying to figure out, hey, we need to end up ordering some parts. And so just because you don't raise $7,500 to sponsor a well doesn't mean that you're not helping. Because ultimately we can use those funds to continue maintenance on those. So you can host a walk. All you got to do, find a place where you can walk 4 miles. That can be a school track. I went and did a walk in Ohio where they walked around their auditorium for 4 miles because it was pouring down raining. And they said, we're here, we're going to do it. And they did it. And so I've done it in church auditoriums. I've done it on school tracks. I've done it around city parks, literally anywhere that we can create a loop. The plumbing company there in New Jersey, they found kind of like in the shoals of McFarland Park, and it was a perfect 5-mile loop. And so they just took off and did the 5 miles in one loop. And so there's a lot of different ways, but you can host one of those. It's usually on a Saturday or a Sunday afternoon. Try and invite your church groups, school groups, as many people as possible. I know y'all have done one at Riverside at the school. We've done one at Mars Hill with the school. The school ones are a lot of fun and really get our teenagers thinking about how blessed that we are. Or you can just go on the website and you can donate $5, $10, $15. You can be a monthly donor. At our annual review last year, what I realized is there are so many people that are $10 a month donors. And when we were looking at how much money had been raised, like that was a significant chunk of change. And I assume it's kind of the St. Jude model, right? If somebody can send 10 or $15 a month into the Walk for Water, man, you put that with thousands of other people and some really huge things start happening. And so there's several ways. Of course, the events tend to be, what pushes the Walk for Water program. This year we're looking at 70 plus. So that's why there's about 10 of us that are on the road, usually every month going somewhere. And so we're always looking for new congregations. Usually once a congregation does it, they see the camaraderie, you could call it, of everybody in the church backing something together. Whether you are older, younger, there's a place for you at the walk. And so they continue to do it and just kind of make it like a mission weekend, which has become really, really cool to see some churches become more mission minded by starting out hosting one walk. And so just a lot of different ways that you can get involved. Please reach out to me. Would love to help you with that. But just an incredible work that's doing incredible things for the kingdom. And so would encourage everybody to jump in and become a part of it.
All right. Lightning round, the questions of the day. I'm going to give you an option here. First of all, Will, thanks for all the work you do. You can tell you're passionate about it, and that's awesome. And I need some of that to rub off. I need to be passionate. I'm getting old. Got to hang out with young folks like yourself so that I can keep fired up. So I appreciate your work there. Presley Robinette one on Instagram asked, "What's your favorite thing to do at CYC?" And I'm taking the singing, the speakers off the table, right? That's an easy tap in. I'll go first. And this may be just the marketing fellowship side of Travis Creasy, but I like CYC. I like going through and seeing all of the different booths and the setup. And it just seems like there are more and more like creative things going on in there, along with things like Walk for Water, like Will just talked about. And I like to see their presentation. You know, what are they thinking? What are they doing? To kind of rub elbows with creative folks like that. Because generally speaking, I'm not very creative. I just usually take things that are really cool and go, okay, how can I use them for my benefit? Or more importantly, the kingdom, of course. But yeah, that's what I enjoy about CYC that may be under the radar.
I thought you were about to steal mine, because mine is the last couple of years getting to hang out with people at our booth, like people just coming by and talking to us and getting to just kind of hear people's stories and just, you know, getting to see our friends. Because sometimes when you go to CYC, what people don't realize is it's such a big event that there were times when I would know people were there and I never see them.
Yeah.
And so, you know, they'd say, "Man, hey, we missed you at CYC." And so it's getting a little bit more where they kind of know where to find us after the sessions, and we're at the booth. And so I end up getting to see them. Sometimes it's a mad rush and we don't see everybody because like Will and them are trying to beat everybody into the auditorium and everybody's racing. And so sometimes don't get to talk to them for very long, but it's just been really fun to get to see them. So that's probably my other favorite thing to do besides all the devotional time and stuff.
Like my favorite thing at CYC, it used to be going to the Apple Barn. That was kind of a tradition that Highland Park always did. We broke that this year because we had too many girls that wanted to shop more.
Pearl clutching. I'm clutching.
You know, they wanted to go shop more than eat at the Apple Barn. So we have started playing, and I don't even remember the name of it, indoor putt-putt every single year in Gatlinburg. There was just a group of us that started doing it, and then this year we ended up, you know, the initial first 2 years was like 5 of us, and now it turned into like 17 this year. And so that's kind of become like a new tradition.
Thanks for being with us for this episode of the Helping Healing Humor podcast. Be sure to download our free ebook, 28 Days of Focused Living, at benandtravis.com and receive all of our Helping Healing and Humor extra content directly in your inbox. We look forward to having you join us at the same Ben and Travis time, same Ben and Travis channel.